Yo, it's Guido coming at you with a tactics talk and an outbrief. I'm gonna tell you what, I am glad to see this tank in the rear view mirror of the 100 battle challenge. We just finished the 100 battle on this thing, the 100th battle, and my goodness gracious. All right, Tesak. Let's take a look real quick at its overall stats, and we'll kind of get into this thing a little bit. Tesak. Tier 10, you can see it is second from the bottom. It's actually not quite as bad as a Sheridan stats-wise. A 45.92 win rate, a minus 5.48 win rate differential. Holy macaroni, this thing is terrible. My win rate differential is around 10%, maybe even slightly above, actually, but right around 10%. Lower than my overall. Absolutely horrendous light tank, and when played by me, a liability for the team. 47% win rate is what I had on this thing. I was using LNES, a CVS, and optics on it. That is a recommended setup by Skill and some of the others. There's a combat setup you could go with for things that are not Prokovka, you know, if you're on Himmelsdorf or something. I never really set that up, to be honest. I just wanted to get done with this thing, and maybe that had something to do with my win rate. But I will tell you, let's get into the feels and the conspiracy theory kind of thing here. Honestly, I just blew up constantly in this thing, and it obviously had a lot to do with the way I played the game, but FVs and RD and other Tesaks with HE, which I never seemed to be able to do, completely, gunning me down. I'm going to be honest, it was unreal how it went down with this tank. The games I lost, at one of the two last games, I had 2 games left. I just did them so I could show you the 100 battles right here. It was an absolute win. I am 20 meters, 30 meters away from some bushes. I'm lighting up a Grill 15. I put about half the clip in it. I'm going to go ahead and let the dispersion zoom back down, and he blind shots the direction that I was shooting. Now, that's not super amazing, but he was cornered and everything else, and he hit me. It was pretty obvious where I was, kind of, but he hit me. And it was just game after game like that, and then the rest of the team folded and we lost. It was it's an absolute win. So when I looked at it, I said, well, I should have shot and moved. And obviously, right? But holy cow, that is an example of the level of gameplay I had to have in this thing to bring out wins. And I did a video earlier. We're going to show you the last really good gameplay I had, which was another ace in it, and it really was about one of every 20 to 25 battles that I enjoyed this tank. Otherwise, it was an absolute chore. There are people doing well in it. My overall rating in the Hall of Fame thing is 1700. That is so low. I don't even know how that's possible, to be honest. And there's people playing it at a 3000 WTR and all that stuff, or tank rating, whatever it's called. Anyway, holy cow. I had to vent a little bit about how painful for me it was to play this thing. And I was thinking about it, how I was going to sort of couch this discussion, something to the effect of, I don't know how people are doing it. I think I know in general how people are doing it. Things like stay alive, do damage, use the clip at the right opportunity, try to be a scavenger, all that kind of stuff. And I get that. And that's what I did when it worked out for me. But I never felt like I was able to make that happen. I always felt like that just fell into my lap based on the way the game was going. I don't even know if I have a game with this tank where I won that game. Maybe a couple. Maybe a couple. Or even a lot of games where I went, wow, I really contributed. It was that painful to play this thing. It just incredible for me. Very, very strange, especially in my career of World of Tanks, with how well I generally do, to come out after 100 battles and a 47% win rate. I have a few of these. We've seen some over the years, where I get to 100 and I just don't have it. But this one, I actually had to claw back to 47%. I was in danger of hitting 50 at one point and then had a bad streak. But I can't even blame the bad streak on this. It's just a tank I did not play well. All right, whatever. Here we go. 100 battles, 47% win rate. I only survived 22. There's a big clue of what the problem is. Hits 55%. It's the autocannon thing, so I don't know where that lives in goodness with these tanks. I'll have to try to look that up and see if that's in the ballpark. Feels low to me even with the autocannon, but who knows. Damage ratio 0.92. I didn't even do more damage than my hit points over 100 battles. That's bad. That's really bad. And that's why you have a 47% win rate, part of it. Destruction 1.1, slightly better. A couple more tanks died than I died. That speaks a little bit to the autocannon's ability to take out low hit point tanks if you can get it there. Almost no armor use. 1100 is atrocious at tier 10, even for a light tank. 1000 is okay, so assist was decent, but not enough to overcome an atrocious damage per game of 1150. 22% battles survived. Now, all those numbers are not inconsistent with sucking and being a 47% win rate in this particular tank. How I make that better, I'm not 100% sure, to be quite honest. And I'm not going to find out, because I don't care. Not with this tank, I don't care. All right. Did I show you the chart? I think I did. Yeah, there it is. So it lives down here. Yep, red, deep red. I was slightly better than the average. I guess we could hang our hat on that positive vibe right there. Slightly above a horrible average. That works. That'll work. Had a good crew. You can see I've got Yulia Winfield. Kind of sad. One of the best characters in the game I put in this thing. And is maxed out, actually. So, trapped, unfortunately, over here in the Polish line, or Czech line. So, if I'm going to use her on something else, I'm going to have to move her to a completely different tank, and it would have to be Czech. But still, a good crew, so you can't really blame the crew on it. Absolutely fantastic crew, really, and still couldn't get above 47%. Let's take a look at my second ace, and probably I think the third or fourth to last game. And then we can take the Tesak and chuck it right overboard. That's what I'm saying. You know what's going to happen pretty soon, because this is what seems to happen. Pretty soon I am going to, or they are going to, Wargaming is going to buff the Tesak after I've played it. This is what I fully expect. There is one thing I did not look at, though. I did mark it, barely. Got my participation award. Am I still above? I am, 70.59. All right, so maybe I was improving. I don't know. Let's take a look at that last day. Well, good news for everybody is, and me, you don't have to watch any more Tesak gameplay, and I don't have to make any more Tesak content, and I don't have to play it anymore. That's beautiful. There it is, CVS in the bonus slot, optics, LNAS, bounty versions of those, 825 AP, 150 APCR. I will say one thing about this line, and I've mentioned it several times, I'll say it again. If you can avoid shooting a whole bunch of APCR, and you probably should because you get less damage out of the APCR, you can actually make money at tier 10 with these things, to be honest. If you can get a little bit of damage downrange. It's not nearly as hard as some of the other tanks. Interesting that the gold round is just really not very... What's the word I'm looking for? It's not something that really tempts you to use it, I guess. Alright. We're going to go up to the north on this. You can see that the enemy team has, I think it's a 1390. I'm trying to remember this game. And 13105. Okay, so 1390's older brother. So I'm going to kind of hang on the backy here, see if I can see anybody. Maybe one of the mediums is going to be a little bit silly, although there's only one. There's one medium. Maybe I outspot the 13105. I'll tell you, that's one thing that was painful for the Tesak. It outspots nothing. Its camo is bad for a tier 10 light tank. Maybe the Sheridan's worse, and that's probably why the Sheridan struggles a little bit more. It's probably got slightly worse, but anytime I broke free and thought maybe I wasn't going to be seen by the other light tank, not every time, but often, I would get spotted, and I'd be surprised. So I'm pretty good at judging where I can sort of, how far inside the circle I can go, and what tank I have, and what the various threats are if I do things like that. Not with this thing. I over assumed often that its camo was better than it was, and that would always cost me some hits. Someone has great view range. 430U. Okay. Now, we have talked about this map, and I've shown a couple examples of gameplay on this map fairly recently, and this is an example of going to the spot in the north. We've won it, but we haven't done anything to win it. It just, they didn't go there. I did notice a shot came out of that corner. That's going to become important later. I actually make a mistake on that one. We'll talk about it when we get there. The Phoenix is calling people idiots. But I've got to kind of make a decision here. Do I push across to the east? I think it's way too early. I'm going to take... Actually, I'm not showing you what I'm doing with my camera. I'm going to take some cheeky shots into there. And I don't know if I actually hit the guy or not. I backed up enough so I couldn't be seen by the guys down below. I'll take a peek. Maybe he's going to make a runner. Notice that my view range doesn't go quite to the edge of the map, unfortunately. So he probably could sneak across there, headed to the south and I'd miss it. And now I'm noticing my team's starting to lose. Somebody actually mentioned we're having trouble in the south, so we're going to have to get on our horse here in a minute and see what we can do to try to shore that up. Our push down there sort of got waxed. The enemy team pushed a bunch of stuff. Killed 3 of us, unfortunately. Just a little more aggressive. Came with a little bit more. Came with a little bit more armor and guns and people and etc. So now we've got to head back and see what we can do to sort of head the loss off at the pass here, if we can. Felt pretty good about leaving the hill. There's just nobody there. Notice the 4005 was thinking about coming up there. I don't really know why. Maybe he thought he might get a shot or two into the sides of those guys over there, but I wouldn't have really recommended that because he was absolutely going to get spotted and then artied to death. The other FV makes a runner. He gets spotted. All right, so when I saw that, I figured probably, because the view range of the guys in the factory is probably not great, that there's somebody over here spotting the 4005. So more than likely, the dudes who came around from down here from the south are kind of trolling around in here, and maybe even the 13105 is somewhere nearby because he caught that 4005 running. So a little bit of SA to sort of throw into your kit bag with that action right there. We'll push right up and over. Really hoping I don't get spotted by the 13105 quickly here. He makes a bit of a mistake, I think, a bit of a misplay. He's worried about getting killed, as I would be too. So he doesn't get very aggressive here, and this gives us an opportunity to do a few things. The DBV's taking him out. Look at all these dudes. Now we're getting a bit of crossfire and 2 4005s and the 277, kind of being silly. I'm waiting to reload, and then I'm going to reload HE right here. What I have learned about the 4005, and that's just not really great aiming. There's the 13105. Now I'm getting a little bit worried about him. Is the turret is where you want to obviously hit with HE. I say obviously because it wasn't obvious to me a while ago. So we get some damage. 13105's pushing in, getting a little bit worried about that. Boom. All right, the Artie just killed the other 4005, so we've kind of cleaned this issue up. I don't want to stand here with a 13 with a Sturv 103B. I don't want to stand here with a 13105 autoloader, so we got to go. And I get lit doing it. Not great. So the counter gets a piece of me. I can't sit there. Got to dip down in the low spot here. And I'm noticing that the 277 is right there. I am smart enough to go to APCR to get the pen. I'm losing damage with that. I thought about just going around and trying to circle him, but what I didn't know is if anybody else was up on these hills up here. I don't think so based on what we can count noses now. There's a DBV that's missing, so he possibly could be. But I really didn't want to go too far south and maybe get jumped on by the 13105, so we're just going to kind of accept that this is going on here. Be careful with the shots. Shoot, pause, let it zoom in. Don't have any shots. Ah, there's the 13105. Please already don't hit me. And we kind of clawed this thing back, guys. We're back to 7 to 8. I'm wondering what's going on. Now, if I go after the 13105, who is hurt, I think, no, actually he's showing 100% hit points. I don't have the shells, obviously. I've also got a 13105, plus we have maybe crossfire, although they're getting a little bit busy with our guys. So I felt like it really wasn't the time to sort of YOLO in there on this dude. We're just going to fade to the back and try to get the heck out of here, guys. Let's see when I hit reload. I'm not really sure why I'm holding it. Maybe because I thought I might get spotted kind of like that. Might have to fight the 13105. We'll go ahead and hit the reload button there. We'll hit C. Alright, 4005. You know, if that 13105 comes over, I hope he can nuke him. We're going to get a little more standoff, though. There he is. Like, oh, we got to get up on the hill. Come on, baby. I sort of blew that off. I'm like, you know, it's not time. Let's go in the city and see if we can preserve some of our heavies here. And unfortunately, our can opener dies. So now we're running with AP. We got to get in here. We got to get in behind this Type 5 to do any real good damage to him. Let's see which dude we can take on. There we go. There we go. Just a few more shells. We'll go ahead and use those. I was really worried about the other DBV right about now. I was feeling like my little push was amazing until now I feel a little bit trapped by that guy. So we're going to bail out. We'll take a chance that the can opener gets shot on us. He did not. That was good. 60 TP. Don't shoot me. I don't know where that guy is. He was last seen in the factory. We got 1,600 damage. 462 assist, and we clawed this one back to a more even battle. I feel like I need to help the heavies and TD in here and see if we can't nuke these two. I wanted the can opener, but this is the guy that presented himself. It just wasn't quite enough to get rid of him. Maybe not careful aiming. That could have something to do with why I didn't do as well in this tank as I would have liked. The 110E3 dies. That was unfortunate. Was super worried about the 60 TP coming out from behind the factory here, so I decided once again to create a little distance as opposed to just YOLO in. There's plenty of guns in there to kill me off. The can opener and the DBV, and I don't know where the 60 TP is. I really felt like pushing in there was a super bad idea. Now remember that there was artillery shells coming out of the corner here, but I didn't get lit? Just hold on to that thought. I find this guy. I don't know what he's doing. AFK maybe? Great. That works for me. We'll hit C and reload again. Where's the Sturv, man? I don't know where the Sturv is. Last seen back here, I really suspect he is. I think if I had to do this one again, I would have pushed in and gone after the guys in the factory again because we were pretty well protected from artillery. We get this dude, but we take a shot for it. Oh shit, okay, so the Sturv is here. Now I'm going to use this little building to try to put the building between me and him. Hopefully I disappear into the bushes there. I'm hoping he doesn't get another little shot on me. And now I'm headed back to try to get this can opener and get him out of there for the E100. I think, like I said, if I had to do it again, a couple things would have occurred. I would not have pushed forward after I killed... Actually, I would have gone into the... After I killed the 60 TP, I would have gone into the factory and helped clean them up. And then worried about the artillery and the rest of them. Because that happens. Okay, we get him dead. That's fine. Now we move. Sturv is the last guy who's back in the back. The artillery is somewhere, I don't know where. We've got a full hit point FV and a 261. So I know where the Sturv is. And I'm thinking, I got 6 minutes. Let's just go around this whole thing and see if we can't find the Sturv in the back there. Now, think about what my mistake is right there, other than the ones I've talked about. You may see others as well, but I'm talking big picture thing about how I needed to handle this. I'll tell you that I saw the artillery go out of that corner, and when I went by and I didn't get lit, my assumption was he wasn't there anymore. Problem is, and I didn't really know this, that corner, the artillery can be so far back they actually can't see anything, which must have been the situation there because he did not light me, and he is still in that corner back there in K0, and somebody's going to say it here in a minute. So I was hoping to maybe find the T92 being silly and moving around, or maybe even the Sturv. So kind of sweep through that area, so they're not over there. We're down to 5 minutes. This is another spot where I might get spotted if the Sturv is forward. And now I know the 4005 is pushing up, which I appreciate that. We're going to take a peek into the bushes here. Maybe we can find the Sturv, and we don't. Down to 4 minutes, or, well, really 5 minutes. So we're going to head off this way. And honestly, I'm okay with the Sturv shooting at me now with the 4000 that close. At least I'll have an idea where he is. He might even get lit doing so. And I'm thinking he's in the corner. So, thought process here is, I don't know where the Sturv is, and he could have got away. I didn't get lit in the areas I went through, so I'm sort of assuming he's not there. He was seen, by the way. Last time he was seen was back by my cap, but he did shoot me from his. So I'm pretty sure he was really near his cap most recently. I don't know where he is, though. I have a decent amount of feeling that he's not in the south of the map, but I could have missed him. So I am going to go after their artillery, and I finally sort of put 2 and 2 together and realized he was there. Plus, you saw somebody type it in there, said that he's in that corner. I said, well, that's good enough for me. Let's go get this guy. There we go. Should have been shooting the upper bit the whole time instead of the hole. All right, very nice. Now I'm not going to get bombed. And what I was trying to say earlier and got a little sidetracked is we might need to get on the cap And I didn't want the artillery resetting us if the Sturv was bushed up and spotting us. So if I can remove the artillery and have enough time, now if we get on the cap and the Sturv starts shooting us, maybe one of us can move in and get close enough that we can spot him and take him out. And the final thing here is pretty awesome. I want you to check this out. I'm going to push in. The plan is to just go down south through the 0 column, and between me and the 4005 we should find him. I'm clicking right there because that's where I think he is, right? Well, he's not exactly there. He's right there. Now notice that before that it was showing full hit points on the Sturv. And we kill that guy off. Ends up being a win. 8 kills, Radley Walters. I believe that's the one for the 8 kills. 3,900 damage, 462 assist. Ends up being an ace tanker. I got a note from Walrus Master 69 after the end of this game. Said, you know, GG and all that. And he said, you know, he took a shot on somebody when they were down at our cap. And I don't know if it was the 13105 or something that was over there near the on the 1 column. I think the 13105. And he said he missed. But when he got his shot list at the end of the battle, he did not in fact miss. He did in fact miss the 13105. He did not miss the Sturv and took about $1,000 or whatever he was missing, which was most of it. And that was really good because that helped us take that guy down. Although I don't think even if I hadn't cleared him off with 1 clip, he would have lived because the 4005 was there to make his life miserable. So there you go. Tesak. Final Outbrief. Last gameplay, at least for me anyways, you're going to see. If one of you guys has a great game in the Tesak and wants to show me how to play it, I'd love that. You know, if it's like this where you just kind of permissive. To a large extent, I was unmolested for most of the game. I kind of kept myself out of the fight too, and that was always my problem with it. Like, well, I'm not going to go south because every time I do something like that and I try to do a strafing run, people don't support me because it's a pub match, or I overexpose early because I'm over aggressive, or I take a couple hits of hit points of damage because early on in scrums like that, face to face, this thing just really doesn't have much hitting power, nor does it have any armor. And I didn't really want to try to outscout the 13105, so I just kind of did this, well, let's kind of work around the edges. And it just worked out in this game. And like I said, that's like a 1 in 20, 1 in 25 situation where it works out and you end up with an ace because you're, you know, able to work around the edges of the battle, run in, assassinate tanks, get a bunch of kills off of near deads, blah, blah, blah. If there's something better than that, let me know. I don't know. There probably is. There probably is. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. That's all I've got. See you, Tesak. I do not like you. Later. It's going to get buffed as soon as I stop.